Okay, guys, I'm finally here on this platform, YouTube, and this is a trial, and I'm making an effort to start updating my literary, what to say, um, ambitions. And today I have this book from the Penguin Classics, Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. And I was going through it, and I just had this random thought which I'm trying to materialize. So I'll just read out one of the letters from Seneca. He was one of the philosophers from the same time of Christ, and he used to believe in he used to believe in a very strict way of living. He used to believe that you need to go through a certain strict rules of life, minimalism being one of them, and he used to look at life as a one-time opportunity, and whatever you do in your life you pass it on, and so you have to be very careful. You have to be extremely uh, tedious with your thought processes, with your actions and everything. So one of the letters that is written on friendships and the kind of things that you have to take care of while you're entering into it. While I'm reading this, I want you guys to know that it's not necessary when you're reading philosophy that you have to follow what the philosopher is trying to convey. It's not necessary for you to follow this person's words, by word. You can have your own opinion after that. You always have to approach a philosophy with an open mind, and you have to make sure that you question what you're reading. So with that in mind, I'll just get down to it. It's the third letter that he wrote in this book. I'll just read it out, and later on we'll discuss about it. So the letter 3 says, "You have sent me a letter by the hand of a friend of yours, as you call him. And in the next sentence, you warn me to avoid discussing your affairs freely with him. Since you are not even in the habit of doing so yourself, in other words, you have described him as being a friend and then denied this in one and the same letter. Now, if you were using that word in a kind of popular sense and not according to its strict meaning, and calling him a friend in much the same way as we refer to candidates as gentlemen, or hail someone with the greeting, 'My dear fellow,' if when we meet him his name slips our memory, we can let this pass. But if you're looking on anyone as a friend when you do not trust him as you trust yourself, you are making a grave mistake, and have failed to grasp sufficiently the full force of true friendship. Certainly you should discuss everything with a friend, but before you do so, discuss in your mind the man himself. After friendship is formed, you must trust, but before that, you must judge. Those people who, contrary to Theophrastus's advice, judge a man after they have made him their friend, instead of the other way around, certainly put the cart before the horse. Think for a long time whether or not you should admit a given person to your friendship. But when you have decided to do so, welcome him heart and soul, and speak as unreservedly with him as you would with yourself. You should, I need hardly say, live in such a way that there is nothing which you could not as easily tell your enemy as keep to yourself. But seeing that certain matters do arise on which convention decrees silence, the things you should share with your friend are all your worries and deliberations. Regard him as loyal, and you will make him loyal. Some men's fear of being deceived has taught people to deceive them. By their suspiciousness, they give them the right to do wrong thing by them. Why should I keep back anything when I am with a friend? Why shouldn't I imagine I'm alone when I'm in his company? There are certain people who tell any person they meet things that should only be confided to friends, unburdening themselves of whatever is on their mind into any ear they please. Others again are shy of confiding in their closest friends and would not even let themselves, if they could help it, into the secrets they keep hidden deep down inside themselves. We should do neither. Trusting everyone is as much a fault as trusting no one, though I should call the first the worthier and the second the safer behavior. Similarly, people who never relax and people who are invariably in a relaxed state merit your disapproval. The former is as much as the latter. For a delight in bustling about is not industry. It is only the restless energy of a hunted mind. And the state of mind that looks on all activity as tiresome is not true repose, but a spineless inertia. This prompts me to memorize something which I came across in Pomponius. Some men have shrunk so far into the dark corners that objects in bright daylight seem quite blurred to them. A balanced combination of the two attitudes is what we want. The active man should be able to take things easily, while the man who is inclined towards repose should be capable of action. Ask nature. She will tell you that she made both day and night. So this is one of those letters which has influenced me in the last 48 hours, I would say, because this is the first time I'm reading Seneca. And the interesting thing the interesting thing that I got to see inside my own thought processes was, I was contradicting one thought, that it's not necessary for you to judge the person beforehand and then make a friend. Sometimes you go through certain connections in your life in which you just feel, your intuition says that you can trust this person and you can open up, and you feel that connection is there. And I'm not saying that you have to keep your judgmental side absolutely at bay when you're interacting with such people or when you're experiencing that connection with those people, but what I'm trying to say here is that it's not as rigid as he puts it. Like it's a 2,000-year-old philosophy that we are referring to here, and we've certainly evolved. Certain things are for sure that he says, and I agree with him, that if you trust somebody completely, that's not advisable. And the other extreme being not trusting the person at all, being too defensive or being all closed up and not at all opening, that's also not advisable, and because that creates barriers in relationship, then you really don't have a real relationship. So so like these are my views, and I would love to know your views on this. You can comment it down in the comment section, or we can discuss it online. You have my email addresses and you have my Instagram profile as well. So all the thoughts and all the ideas are welcome, and this is just my first attempt to what I'm trying to do with my free time, and that's mostly in the night. And let's see where it goes. Thank you everybody to see and share your time with me, and catch you soon. Good night.